Oh boy, do we have some juicy tidbits and evaluations for y'all today. Hey everyone, my name is Onepeg, and this is the Newsy News. In today's video, we're going to talk about how the holo sites, most of them were buffed and then nerfed back to the basement, custom spawns, and all of the changes with complete details and a map for y'all with some interesting tidbits there, and some major nerfs to those of us that love spending even more in-game currency on stuff that we kind of sort of need, like hideout construction upgrades. Yeah, you heard me. Hideout construction has gotten a whole lot more expensive. Med Station Level 1, instead of being 20,000, is now 50,000 rubles with the included cost of an extra pile of meds and a disposable syringe just for Med Station Level 1. Med Station Level 2 has gone from 50,000 to 150,000 rubles, a 3x increase, and now instead of 2 Esmark, it is now 5 Esmark tourniquets. Med Station Level 3 got an increase in cost from 150k to 500k, more than 2 times the expense. The rest space for level 1 has an added cost of 1 duct tape, which isn't too bad. The rest space level 3 went from 3,000 USD to 5 green lithium batteries because apparently we have some low-grade massage parlor action going on in our bed now. Whatever. The Workbench Level 2 has an added cost of 3 weapon parts. Workbench Level 3 went from 195 to 395,000 rubles, an increase of 200k, and 2 cans of thermite. Stash Level 4, for those of us that have to do stash upgrades and don't have EOD, got more expensive. Instead of it being 7 schuss ceiling foam, it is now 5. But they have the added expense of 2 ratchet wrenches. So 1 step forward, 9, 10, 12 steps back. Yeah. The unlock for the scav case is now 3 more Fierce Hatchling Moonshine, and Water Collector 3, which is required to get the Fierce Hatchling Moonshine to begin with, unless you were to buy it off of the flea market, which, whatever. The cost of the rubles cost of it was reduced to 20,000, down from 125, but they added the cost of a ratchet wrench. So again, 1 step forward, 12 steps back, because ratchet wrenches are like 1,000,000 rubles right now. Heating Level 3 has had 4 relays added to it. Not super bad unless you're in the early game, which, we got months for that. Security Level 1 added 1 construction measuring tape. Security Level 2 added 1 elite pliers and 1 WD-40 100 mil, not the little ones, but the big tall ones. And Lavatory Level 1 now has an added cost of 1 toothpaste and 1 soap. It seems as though, again, in mid-wipe, BSG is trying to slow down progression for people that don't have any progression to slow down, because the grinders have already done it. And now that all my casual homie Timmy boys are frothy, we'll move on to holos. Oh, hey, last second edition while I've been editing stuff. The one good thing to come out of this is that Interchange's lighting has been fixed. Apparently, when they did the whole shader update and stuff and the lighting tweaks and blah, 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 they ended up making Interchange darker than it was supposed to be. So it's back to being bright again. Rejoice. So if you're one of the people that's had the opportunity to play the game over the last few days since 12.10 went live, you would have, if you've used a holo site, noticed that things like the XPS and the HHS-1 holo sites, the family of EOTechs, for perfect example, were made significantly better, especially if you were using night vision. Pretty great, right? Well, that's too bad, because BSG said it was a bug that these reticles were painted on and made more usable, and reverted it. So now we're back to the coronal halo light bleeding effect that is completely unusable and makes the HHS-1 garbage again. So yeah, it was a fun 72 hours though. It was great. Unbelievable. And now on to all of the customs map stuff. And here we have the original customs map. On the west side, we have 10 spawn points surrounding Big Red, with the most notorious being the railroad to port spawn that would likely get you to 3-story dorms first. In the northeast, there were 4 spawn points overlooking New Gas, and then in the southeast around the oil tanks, and then moving west over to Warehouse 4 and Old Gas, there were another 8. The spawn points that were most notably outright removed would be the ones over on the west side around Big Red. There were 2 that I could tell that were just removed outright. Those being the one inside of the trailer park and then the one in the ditch between the trailer park and the red warehouse area. If we then look at the spawn points that were moved, the spawn point in the center of the trailer park cabin key area got shifted slightly to the southeast, so now the spawn is tucked in behind the buses a little bit more. The spawn point set on the inside of the fence in the big red warehouse in between a couple of train cars is now shifted to the outside of the fence next to a train car overlooking the river, and the only other spawn point that was set inside of the perimeter of the big red warehouse area has been moved outside of the fence, placing that spawn point about halfway between the crossroads spawn or extract and the river itself along the road. And the only other spawn here to get moved from this side of the river was actually moved completely over to the other side of the river by the Ruaf roadblock or the unknown key scav. This brings the total count on this side of the river down from 10 spawns to 7. So hopefully there will be a little bit less congestion on this side of the map. On the east side of the river, the spawns that were moved was Old Gas Station got pushed further out into the corner of Old Gas. The outdoor ZB-12 spawn was actually moved inside of the warehouse right next to it. The far east spawn south of the military base checkpoint scav extract got moved in between a couple of rocks. In the northeast, near the passage between rocks scav extract, that spawn point was moved up onto the wall to hide again behind some more rocks. And the PMC spawn that was set up below the power tower has actually moved significantly west next to the hole in the wall, putting it significantly closer to dorms. With all the spawns that were shifted, it now looks like there are 4 spawn points that have also been added. Moving northeast is a spawn point right next to the smuggler's boat extract area. This one looks like it's about equivalent in distance to 3-story dorms as the moved spawn point that got put over next to the hole in the wall on the east side. On the east side of the map, there is one spawn point that was placed right next to the military checkpoint. Moving south from there, there was a secondary spawn point placed in the southern warehouse, kind of near where the unknown key trailer is. Moving west from there is a spawn point right outside of Crack House, and this one's going to be highly contentious, because there's a lot of intelligence spawns and other valuable stuff that spawns inside of Crack House. It's a very common place for people to rush. So if someone spawns right outside of there, they're going to get all that loot first. So I've got 2 takeaways that come from this. One is on the west side of the river around Big Red, they've tried to reduce the number of places that people can spawn, hopefully reducing the amount of firefights that seem to take place right away. Because there's a lot of guys that get killed right off a spawn right there. Secondarily, moving away from the west side over toward the dorms area, we have now 2 spawns that are about equivalent in distance to the marked room. So this, at the very least, should offer for some contesting of the 3-story dorms area, and hopefully means that not everyone that spawns at Railroad to Port is the first person to get to the marked room and get all the juicy gear. I'm not entirely sure what the deal is around the Crack House. Maybe Nikita just really loves hatchlings in his heart of hearts. Anyway, guys, that's what I have for this one. Thank you so much for coming and checking out this video. Hopefully you guys found something useful in this, and I will see you in the next one. Okay? Peace.